I missed something during last week's Donald Trump rally in Aurora. Was standing there, heard it, just wasn't sure if I heard what I thought I heard, so we did not play it back to you here. It seemed that Trump was talking in Aurora about using the U.S. military against Americans that he says hate this country.
I think the bigger problem is the enemy from within, not even the people that have come in. We have some sick people, radical left lunatics. And I think they're and it should be very easily handled by, if necessary, by National Guard, or if really necessary, by the military.
Well, over the weekend on Fox, Trump just came out and said what he seemed to be saying in Aurora, that he has the desire to use the U.S. military against American citizens.
So for those of you who aren't familiar with Cale Clark's work, you should be, because we've featured him on the network before for his scathing takedowns of Lauren Boebert, oftentimes to her face.
Ms. Boebert, you've repeatedly taken credit for projects in Colorado that you asked for funding for, but then you voted against the bill in the end. Bridge over the Roaring Fork River in Glenwood Springs, water treatment plant in Gunnison, I-70 interchange in Grand Junction. You're able to vote no and get the praise for voting no because you know that there are enough other Republicans who are willing to vote for those bills so they'll pass. My question for you is this, and just a short answer, it truly is a yes or no question. If you were the deciding vote, would you still have voted no and killed all of those projects in Colorado that you now take credit for?
Yes. But this time he took aim at Trump, and it's not to be missed. The host opted to deviate from his regular style of reporting on Colorado's 9 News after Trump in an interview on Fox News with Maria Bartiromo. An interview, by the way, that Trump said was beautiful despite getting fact-checked on his tariff plan, leaving him dumbfounded.
But what about the criticism, and the Journal has done this as well, that if you do put something like a 200% tariff on a product, that it's only going to mean higher prices for consumers?
It's not. No, it doesn't mean that.
It's got to be passed on somehow. Well, you're talking about nuclear facilities now with regard to Israel. And, you said that you think that Israel should, in fact, hit Iran's nuclear facilities. Isn't this dangerous to be talking about impacting nuclear facilities?
You can't let them have a nuclear weapon.
But he would go on to threaten those who dare disagree with him, hinting at using the US military against American citizens. And as Clark pointed out, this isn't the first time that he's insinuated this, and for whatever reason, it's not getting the media attention that it deserves.
I missed something during last week's Donald Trump rally in Aurora. Was standing there, heard it, just wasn't sure if I heard what I thought I heard, so we did not play it back to you here. It seemed that Trump was talking in Aurora about using the U.S. military against Americans that he says hate this country. Listen to what he said.
We have the greatest military in the world, but you have to know how to use them. You have to know how to use them. But I protect you against outside enemies. But, I always say we have the outside enemy. So you can say China, you can say Russia, you can say Kim Jong-un, you can say, but that's not, it's going to be fun. If you have a smart president, no problem. It's the enemy from within, all the scum that we have to deal with that hate our country. That's a bigger enemy than China and Russia.
All right, the military thing and the enemy within, the comments are kind of next to each other, but it's not super clear. Well, over the weekend on Fox, Trump just came out and said what he seemed to be saying in Aurora, that he has the desire to use the U.S. military against American citizens.
I think the bigger problem is the enemy from within, not even the people that have come in and destroying our country. By the way, totally destroying our country. The towns, the villages, they're being inundated. But I don't think they're the problem in terms of election day. I think the bigger problem are the people from within. We have some very bad people. We have some sick people, radical left lunatics. And I think they're and it should be very easily handled by, if necessary, by National Guard, or if really necessary, by the military.
The Harris campaign responded to that, saying that it should, quote, alarm every American who cares about their freedom and security.
And you know what's even more obvious than the thinly veiled fascism is the marching orders from the top down at Fox News to try and discourage Trump from admitting to this, as perhaps it's even too extreme for them. Hence the next level verbal gymnastics and pathetic pandering from Laura Ingraham on the subject.
What is Joe Biden, I believe on Friday, said that he believes the election will be fair and transparent, but he's not sure it's going to be peaceful. And he walked into the White House briefing room to say that and other things. What do you think he was getting at?
I don't
He
think
was
he knows.
referencing some of your rhetoric.
I don't.
How will you restore faith in our justice system? A lot of people will say, well, he's just going to do to them what they did to him and get back at them. And
a lot of people say that's what should happen.
Well,
you want to know the truth.
But right. Well, but I think, you know, punitively using government institutions is what got us in this mess in the first place. And our town hall that we did back in February, one of the lines that really resonated, I think, with people is when you said, my revenge is going to be my success.
Yeah, well, I do believe that, but I will say this. They have started a terrible precedent. We've never had this. We do have that in third world countries, banana republics, a lot in South America where they go after somebody politically that's an opponent. We never had it to any great extent, really almost at all.
But you're not going to do that. When you get in office, you're going to look at all your political enemies.
No, I want
to
make this the most successful country in the world.
But Clark, well, he's fact-checked the president in the past for spreading lies regarding Colorado's mail-in voting. But Kyle Clark would pull no punches, and this isn't the first time that he's fact-checked the former president. He offered a scathing rebuttal after former President Trump spread lies regarding Colorado's mail-in voting, claiming on Truth Social that the state's, quote, radical left governor has gone to all mail-in voting, making the state a political cesspool where even if you were leading, it would make no difference. Colorado is run by the lunatic left. To which Clark responded, Trump's claim is false. Colorado's universal mail-in voting began in 2013, years before the current governor took office.
Buy a house.
Donald Trump is again making false claims about mail-in elections in Colorado, mistruths and lies that have become baked into Colorado's Republican politics, even when Trump isn't focused on a state he lost big.
There are no fair elections in Colorado.
That's state GOP chairman Dave Williams echoing Trump's lies on a white nationalist podcasters program last year.
We've got to do that again in Colorado. We've got to have such a red tsunami that there's no question, there's no fixing it.
That's 2021 gubernatorial candidate Heidi Ganahl caught on tape suggesting to supporters that Colorado's elections are rigged. Her GOP primary opponent for governor, Greg Lopez, he called for an end to mail-in voting altogether, although Lopez solely voted by mail once it became a choice.
We stand in line for concerts. We stand in line for baseball games and football games. Why can't we stand in line to vote?
We, the jury, find the defendant, Tina Peters, guilty.
Even after former Mesa County Clerk Tina Peters was indicted on felonies for allowing conspiracy theorists into her county's voting system, the Colorado GOP offered her a leadership position working on election integrity issues. Peters was convicted this afternoon of felonies. Trump recycled the same debunked falsehoods after his weekend fundraiser in Aspen, posting on social media that it wouldn't make a difference if he was leading in the polls in Colorado because Colorado's, quote, radical left governor has gone to all mail-in voting. That is false. Mail-in voting was passed and implemented by a Republican Secretary of State before Democratic Governor Jared Polis ever took office. Trump's suggestion of fraud in Colorado's mail-in voting is also not supported by evidence. The Conservative Heritage Foundation has tracked 15 cases of confirmed voter fraud in Colorado in the decade of mail-in voting. The two most prominent cases were former state GOP chairman and talk radio host Steve Curtis, who was convicted in 2017, and then murder suspect Barry Morphew, charged with voting his missing wife's ballot for Donald Trump.
It was a bipartisan initiative implemented by a Republican Secretary of State, swiftly making him an enemy of the MAGA contingent because how dare you respond to their cult leader with pesky facts?
He was talking about sick people, radical left lunatics who should be handled by the National Guard or the military. And then later on in that same speech, he said that one of the lunatics he addressed was Congressman Adam Schiff. That's who he was talking about using the National Guard and military against, radical left lunatics, enemy from within, people like Adam Schiff.
Again, Jake, I don't think that and again, I can't.
I'm just reading you his
speak
quotes.
For him, but I do think that you are misinterpreting and misrepresenting his thoughts. I do believe, again, it's all around the fact that we have had an unprecedented number of illegal immigrants come over the border in an unrestrained fashion. The Biden-Harris administration has allowed it to happen. It was their policies. They did not fix it. And as a result, we do see a substantial number of folks who are violent criminals, folks who have been identified as national security threats here. And in fact, just 2 weeks ago, we in fact had senior people from our national security apparatus say that there's 15,000 violent felons in the United States. They have no idea where they are. That is what I believe the president is referring to. I don't think that he's referring to elected people in America. But I'm
literally reading his quotes. I'm literally reading his quotes to you, and I played them earlier so you could hear that they were not made up by me. He's literally talking about, quote, radical left lunatics. And then one of those lunatics he mentioned was Congressman Adam Schiff.
Between these remarks, running from debates, cancelling 60-minute interviews, and cutting his own town hall short to stand on stage listening to music while swaths of people pour out of the venue.
Let's not do any more questions. Let's just listen to music. Let's make it into our music. Who the hell wants to hear questions, right? Isn't that beautiful, though? It's so beautiful. And we played that in Butler, Pennsylvania. We had a moment of silence, and then we had the bells of Notre Dame go off, and then we had a great opera singer, Christopher, who was so incredible, and a great, great opera singer.
It's clear the wheels aren't just wobbly, they're close to falling off.
Love this video? Make sure you stay up to date on the latest breaking news and all things Midas by signing up to the MeidasTouch newsletter at MeidasTouch.com/newsletter.